actually do that. I'm gonna do what that sign says, and I'm actually gonna count them all when I go back up.
Alright, hey guys, if you can just make a little semicircle around this board so everyone can see. You can push all the way out if you want. A few more people coming. Right, so welcome to Parramatta Station Box. I can probably summarise what we do here in three main activities. The first activity is something called installing a diaphragm wall, which I'll go into more detail about. There's an excavation activity, and then there's a steel strut install activity. So a diaphragm wall is basically it's a 1 metre thick concrete wall which gets installed from the surface. See all these concrete walls around? Those are the diaphragm walls, and they get installed when we're at surface level. None of this has been excavated. From the top we dig a 1 metre wide trench, about 30 metres deep, and then the guys pour concrete in to form up those walls. So essentially the ground acts as a mould to let the concrete cure the way it has. After that activity, we then excavate. We excavate using the excavators behind you. As they dig the material out, a machine from the top brings up to the surface. And just like a lot of things in this world, things want to move. Right? So as you dig down, these walls, diaphragm walls, they want to move inwards. So that's what the steel beams are for, our third activity. Those steel beams are all custom-made beams. There's probably a total of 2,500 tonne of steel across this project, and they hold these big giant walls out, so they stop it from collapsing in. Now, to give you a bit of a scale of how big this site actually is, what you see here, so from that diaphragm wall to the red clay, that's about 30 metres. Right? So 30 metres takes us to that black line there. We still have to go all the way to the end of those red and blue squares. So overall, it's about 200 metres, and we've done 30 of it.
And that's the depth here of how deep it goes.
I'm talking length at the moment, but the depth, we're about halfway. That's about 15 metres. So the first top part of it is that soft red clay, and then you see it change to like a black kind of material. That's a shale, like a weathered rock. And then you see this grey stuff here in big boulders. That is what we get to the rock layer, and it'll be like that for the rest of the 15 metres.
The diaphragm wall is already like 30 metres deep.
This diaphragm wall was already installed, 30 metres deep all the way around.
Wait, for the whole 200 metres then?
For the whole 200 metres. So all these boxes that you see,
Yeah.
how it alternates from red, blue, all the way around, it's already been installed. So as we dig that way, we'll see more of this. As we dig down, we'll see more of the walls.
But diaphragm phase has been completed already.
Has been completed. Yeah.
So it's
all done.
excavation.
Excavation and steel. Correct.
So there's over 200 metres that way, there's a trench with a diaphragm already in it, is there?
Yeah, correct. So 200 metres that way, you'll see a wall like this already there as we keep going.
Are you going down and over there at the same time? Focusing just on these 15 metre, like this is the 40 and then move over there?
Yep. We'll be focusing here first, and we'll be extending this area another 40 metres. At that point, we'll be all the way down the bottom, 30 metres down, and that's when our TBMs, who knows what a TBM stands for?
Tunnel boring machine.
That's it, tunnel boring machine. And do you know the names of our TBMs?
Dorothy and Betty.
Hey, so, okay, and so Dorothy and Betty, they will pop out through that wall there and that wall there. Of course, 15 metres down, they'll pop out into open space that we've excavated, and they'll re-dig into that face and keep going to Westmead. Okay.
The TBMs bore through the diaphragm walls.
Down this side, there's another part called the nozzles. It's just a short stub tunnel that we will also construct. It will break through that. TBMs will then crawl through this way, and then tunnel again through the unexcavated material.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any plans to extend from Westmead to the airport metro, which I think is St Mary's? Or
Yeah, look, on those plans, I think they're still working on them. But the guys up near the coffee van, when we go up there, there's a metro van. They might have some more information on what that all looks like.
I'm pretty sure the trains using the airport line and this line are like slightly different widths, so I'm not sure they're really platform compatible. I'm pretty sure that's also like not all metro trains use the same voltage as well. Is that right?
I wouldn't have the answer to that one, but like I said, there's that metro van up the top. They probably would be able to answer that a bit better than myself.
What happens to the TBM once it's finished?
As in its home, or how?
Yeah, when it gets to the end, do they
Yep.
take it out? Or?
Yeah, so when it gets to the end at Westmead, it gets disassembled into little pieces, and then it gets removed piece by piece. Where its home is exactly, it's probably either undecided or they're still planning it, but it does need to come out in small pieces.
Is TBM owned by an Australian company or is
So
it
TBM is owned by the main contractor for this site,
Yeah.
and that main contractor works for Sydney Metro, so it depends on how you define own.
Does it have to go return overseas to another company or something like that?
I don't think its home's been decided yet. It's still got a fair bit to dig. It's got a lot of work to do. It's probably doing about 180 to 200 meters a day.
And if this line were to be extended towards the east side, and how would the TBM be reinstalled onto this line? Because it can't be reinstalled where the track's already laid.
Sorry, say that one again?
So the TBM, let's say this line needs to be extended,
Yes.
do you need to create a new hole to put the TBMs in to extend the line?
So if it were to be extended from, say, Westmead to the airport, so Westmead has a stub tunnel that continues to the west, and it's just a dead end. I don't think they've got the plan yet as to whether they'd like to dig that way or receive it from the airport. Again, in planning phase.
Where's all the soil and rock going?
Soil and rock is being reused at various sites. Exactly where? It'd be hard to pinpoint exactly where each and every pebble is going. A lot of it will be out west though. There are a lot of tips and sites out west that reuse it.
I did read, I think, somewhere in the news that a lot of the fill from both the road tunnels and the railway metro tunnels are being used for new districts in the northwest to lift the new housing estates above the flood plains or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't have that info, but that's good. Look, to give you a bit of an idea of size, like I said before, I am an engineer and we like to do things in kilos, tons, and whatnot, but the amount of material that's come out at the moment, on Sundays we like to measure things in African elephants. So there's probably about 5,500 African elephants that have come out of this excavation. They're in a new home now. They're in a safe home, and I think there's four NRL football fields?
I think so.
Yeah, 4 NRL football fields long of D-wall that's been installed. D-wall being diaphragm walls. Okay. Any other questions?
And is it water charged ground, and that why the walls want to collapse inwards? Or?
Yes, it's not the only reason. So the water level's probably, I'm going to say, if you look at that bottom of that beam, that's probably the water table. So the second steel down from the top, that's about the top of water table on the outside. The diaphragm walls are supposed to be a watertight structure, keeping the water out, and you can see that's probably a lot of more rainwater that's been here from the last couple of weeks. The lines you see in the diaphragm walls, those are the joints between each of the concrete panels. They're all fairly dry, so that's telling us that the diaphragm was constructed fairly well and it's keeping the water out. And it's doing its job from a design
Are there any other like flood prevention systems to prevent the station from like getting flooded? Because it is quite deep on the ground. So flooding of metro stations has happened before and has some pretty disastrous results. So like what are like the preventions to like prevent someone from like get stuck in the train and like when the train's being flooded?
Yeah. In a temporary phase, what we have now, we've got a bund around the top, and we have pumps.
Yeah.
In a final phase, when the box is dug, there is a big sump at the bottom,
Yeah.
and drainage lines that have been designed to take that kind of water.
Yeah.
And then once the station box is built and it's covered over,
Yeah.
then most of the drainage should be complete and installed.
But like once it's complete, like is there like pumps inside the station that will stay there or not?
Yes, there'll be pumps right down the bottom in a big sump.
Oh, so like once it's complete, like if the station in the likely case that it does flood, the pumps will pump the water out of the station.
Yeah, whether it's flood or just normal rainwater,
Yeah.
there'll be some sort of pump system that pushes the water back out.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Anything else, guys? All good? There's some curly questions in there. So how we get the rock and material out? So the big excavator up there, that yellow excavator, that one basically reaches down and scoops all the material out and then puts it back onto the surface. While that's not working, we run tour groups like this and we give you gloves. So as everyone goes up, just take the biggest rock you can, and then the biggest rock, right? No, it's alright. You don't need to do that. Everyone's back on Monday. That machine will be working on Monday.
This goes put straight into trucks, is it?
Pardon?
Just put straight into trucks.
It will be put into the... See that? There's a big dump truck. Once we get up to the top, you'll see a big dump truck. For this particular stage, it'll get put into that truck and then put into these other trucks that go onto the road, and we call them truck and dogs. It's basically just like a truck at the front with a trailer at the back, and it holds material, takes it to his new home.
Where would that new home be for the material?
Depends what type of material, and depends what the tips accept.
The shell, for example.
The shale's going out west somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
And the deep.
Actually, a lot of it's going out west. Yeah, there's a lot more space out. There's a lot of roads out there, a lot of tips, a lot of reuse.
So it'll get dumped in a site, or it might get reused for something else, right?
Yeah, depends who wants it on the day, really.
I got a question.
Yeah.
How do you guys assemble the crane?
Okay, good one.
That's what I've always been wondering.
Yeah. Depends what crane. I'll probably say it down here and you can see it once you get up to the top. There's a few types of cranes. The one we have here, the white one, you will see how it's sticking up in the air on your left. Yeah, the white one. So that one is called a crawler crane. It comes in with the main body on a truck, and it just lands with no wheels and nothing. The tracks will come, and then the tracks get put onto it, bolted on, all the wires connected, kind of like you connect a trailer. And then it's got body, wheels, and then the big boom, or the lattice skirter, that comes in probably 3 or 6 meter sections, gets bolted together, they run all the wires, and then up he comes and he's ready to be used. So it comes in bits, depends how big the crane is. And does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Smaller cranes just come off a truck.
Just the big ones.
The bigger ones come in pieces. Just like if you were to, I don't know, get your car.
Yeah.
Your car would be like a small crane, just comes and it's ready to go. If your car comes in bits and pieces, you'd probably be upset, but yeah, that's how big the big ones come.
You mentioned with the different, so with the clay being softer and the shell being harder.
Yeah.
Are there different heads for the different when you're excavating it?
Yep. So yes, there are. In the soft, we'd use the bucket. As you get to harder material, you might have a bucket with some teeth on it. I don't know if you can see him. You can't see him. And then as you get into the rock, see that machine on the right hand side?
Yeah.
It's got a different attachment on the end.
Yeah.
To the excavator on the left. The attachment on the right hand side, that's a rock breaking hammer. And it just, big bit of steel, and it just knocks up all the big, small bits of material. And it makes it all into little pieces.
It's like a pneumatic drill. Okay.
Well, it chips away at it.
Yeah, it chips away at it. Less of a drill action, more of a pulverizing action. Okay, and then there are other attachments as well. We call them a pineapple because it looks like one, and it's just this spinning device, and it's got lots of little teeth on it, and it just spins around and it just breaks up the material.
Do the teeth direction matter on a bucket?
Yes, they're usually facing. If you look at that bucket, the curved bit on the back. Yeah. If you follow that line all the way towards the excavator, that's where the teeth usually are.
Oh.
So that's the bucket sitting like that. The teeth are bigger.
All right. Okay. And that's like for different if you're picking up and.
Teeth are usually used to
What are they?
dig,
Oh, okay.
and then we call this other bucket we call it a mud bucket to dig mud. It's got a flat edge and it just scrapes.
Oh, okay. So it's a different purpose.
Yeah.
Well, another question. Just noticed some exposed rebar on the diaphragm wall there. Like, is that fine or like what's that like?
So in future, those rebates, they are for the future station whaler beams, concrete beams that will replace these temporary steel beams.
Oh, these are temporary.
These are temporary. As we dig down, the steel beams are just to hold the diaphragm walls out.
Yeah.
Once we get to the bottom, the TBMs come through and the Parramatta station starts getting constructed. They'll build back up, construct these concrete beams in the rebates, and then the respective steel beams will then be removed. Rinse and repeat for each level.
So these are basically like kind of like slots for the future concrete, and they'll basically fill the exposed rebar.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, slots and see the blue circles.
Yes.
So those are protective caps. We'll take those caps off. New rebar gets installed to that, and that will take all the load and transfer it from the whaler beams into the diaphragm walls.
And the caps also prevent it from rusting, right?
And a lot of the loose material getting into it because it's a thread.
Oh, it's a thread. You don't want to destroy the thread.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, Alex, we want to.
Yeah. Okay.
Time, guys.
Look, let's start heading back up. There's another station up the top. You can take your time with going up the stairs. There's rest stops along the way, and there's chairs as well. Okay.
So, who's game to go first? Who's the fittest? We're going to take it easy and take it slow. Follow me.
I'm counting them. I'm gonna count them.
Get a bird in it. Let's make sure we got it right.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29,
Taking a break. Make sure you use one hand to hang on to the handrail.
30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I think I miscounted there. It's 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Oh boy. 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. What a damn minute. 69. Okay.
The same guys. Right, look at this. This is what it looked like at Christmas. This is a little bit later. Take your clothes off. A feature. Where was the end of the race to?
One second, I'm just gonna take my gloves off.
The table. I beat you.
I rated you up first.
Okay.
Oh, now. What do we say?
Thank you. You're welcome. Was it fun?
Oh, this
This wall.
Someone with your real PC. Someone comes down has to come up. Yeah, no.
that's good.
I saw a sign down there that said we could count the stairs and see how many we climbed.
get?
Is it 69?
Ooh, I think it's like 71.
Oh, so close.
Close though. Depends what you count as a step. You minus those ones though, didn't you?
Yeah.
So 71 minus.
Yeah.
Well, we
One, two.
get these up.
Oh, I don't know we were counting those ones.
That's like those hours that you can put towards when you can say you attended site visits or like networking or things like that.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Do you not have to work as part of this?
So close.
About it, I was just like, yeah.
I was talking to my
Everyone in my group, just follow me.
Okay.
Oh, this one.
Okay, good.
Alrighty.
Put that bin behind you there, will you? It's hot.
For her course, I think she can't steps or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Her course, we need X amount of hours where you have to be like, it's not industry work, but it's like you have to have God attended a day. So it's things like industry talks and things like that. I just thought maybe your course.
Goodness, that's further down than I thought.
We'll have to go back.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the coffee.
You got one?
What?
Free coffee, you can't.
No. I don't know I was supposed to grab one. Where did you get it?
Lady handing them out. No, no.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna. You can pause and read this, guys.
That's good.
No? Yeah. Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Now you're at the heritage side of the tour. You've been down to the big hole. Well, we had to do the archaeology there before they could dig the big hole. So, we have been here since beginning of 2022. And we have had over 50 people involved in the archaeology of this site. It's a huge site. It's one of the biggest, I think, that's been around at all. And we've actually done 60% of the archaeology here. So we've got a little bit more to go. And we'll be coming back very soon and excavating at the front on George Street and then Macquarie Street. So, my name's Amanda, and we have Sam and Costa, and we are three of the archaeologists that were involved from the beginning. So archaeology, what do? We dig things up, just like the civil contractors dig things up. Only our methods are slightly different. So to get us to the archaeology, we rely heavily on the contractors to be able to provide us with machines and heavy lifting material, etc. And we have a system where we have a big machine comes in and rips out the concrete, and then after that we get a slightly smaller machine to come in and do detailed work. And we rely heavily on them because if we were to do it by hand, even with 50 people, it would take forever. Whereas we have the access to wonderful excavator drivers who can shave across the site and take 5 centimetres off, and it'll be done in 10 minutes. It's extraordinary. And so we rely very, very heavily on the excavator drivers. And we have several that work with us here. So the way we work is we take off the concrete, we take off the overburden, and then about 1 metre down, we hit the top of the archaeology. And the archaeology here spans from thousands of years old to the 1980s. So we've got the Aboriginal archaeology, which we also do at the same time as we do the historical, and we've got a couple of boards here that show you different versions of that. And we have found several hundred artifacts, so stone tools, across the site, mainly in the middle section where it's higher. So when we hit the top of the historic archaeology, that normally looks like footings. So the footings of buildings. Footings that are sometimes sandstone, sometimes brick. But the earliest evidence we have for European occupation here is convict huts that are built out of wood. And so all that survives of them are post holes. And we've found thousands of post holes across this site. But we've also found in more relevance, we've found areas where you could distinctly see a cottage or a hut. And on George Street, you could see the post holes of a convict period hut. We know it's there because we know it's convict period because it actually appears on one of the drawings that was made in 1792, which is just behind you guys over there. The way we start is we do what we call an assessment, and we look at all the old maps and drawings and try and match it up with modern features like roads, like George Street, Church Street, and then we work out whether there were any buildings there early on. And we've got maps that go from 1790s up to 1855, and then we've got some more later on. And so we were able to work out, there's probably going to be a convict hut here, there's probably going to be a convict hut there. And so that's the process we do before we come here. Then we rip everything out until we hit the footings, and then we do detailed excavation. And that's when we are able to retrieve artifacts, like the ones you can see here, that are part of that, the structures. So there's often things inside demolished buildings, and there's also a lot of artifacts that are found in deeper cuts, and those cuts can be things like a well. Does everyone know what a well does? What does it do?
Collect water.
Water, absolutely. A well is a shaft that goes down to the water table, and it's how you would get your drinking water. Before it was any piping and water laid on here. So you would need to have a well to survive. So we have wells. We've found 3 so far on site, and they can be empty or they can be absolutely chock-a-block full of artefacts. The other things we've found are big pits and that are often filled with rubbish, because rubbish collection did not come in to Parramatta. There was no municipal rubbish collection until the late 1890s. So if you had lots of rubbish and you had a great big backyard, you just dig a hole and stick it in. Or if you are lucky, you might have something that's already been dug and you can put your rubbish in. And what we found a bit further than that red crane over there, a little bit further than that, we found a great big pond. It was about 10 metres long and 6 or 7 metres wide and about 2 to 3 metres deep. And it had been in use very early on, so they obviously it'd be a bit like a dam or a reservoir where they dug it, water was in it and they was using it, whether it was water used for animals or not too sure, could have been irrigation. Anyway, so big pond, and it's in use for say 10, 15 years, maybe longer, and then by 1870 they decided to backfill it because they wanted to build another building on top of it. So big empty space. How are they going to fill it? They'll fill it with rubbish. So all of these bottles came from that pond. Now these bottles are about 2% of all the bottles that we found. So we found hundreds, thousands of bottles. A lot of them were just broken, but there were a significant number that were whole as well. So the bottles fall into 2 kind of types. You can see at the top, you've got the bottles that are made from clay. It's a clay called stoneware, and they are from the 1840s and 50s, and they were to hold ginger beer. And we know that they were ginger beer because the people that owned the company that put ginger beer into these bottles were the residents in the convict hut. A revamped version of the convict hut on George Street. That was George and Sarah Barton, and we have their names on many of those bottles. So that's ginger beer manufacturing. They all ended up in the pond. Then we have, below that, we have these crazy shaped bottles, and they're called torpedo bottles. And they are used for fizzy water or aerated water, just like soda water or, soda stream. And so we know that there was a guy called Peter Miller who had a manufacturing space over on George Street, just next to the Bartons, and he was operating from the 1860s to the 1870s. And so if you come up and have a look at them, you'll see that some of them have his name on it. It says Peter Miller, Parramatta. Some say Peter Miller, Sydney, but he would have ordered all of these bottles from the UK. They were made in the UK and shipped out. So he would have ordered them to have his name embossed on them, and then he brought it to here, and then he would fill the bottles and sell them. And they would often come back and be reused as well. But when he went out of business and there was this big pond that was going out of use, it was, let's just backfill it. But it wasn't just him, it was other members of the neighbourhood also backfilled part of it. We have a lot of bone at the end there that you can see, and that came from the butcher. And we know there was a butcher on Church Street, his name was Hugh Taylor, and he was in business right when they were backfilling this. So you can see or if you have a good look at them, you can see where the cut marks of the bones are. The other thing that we found over on George Street in our convict hut was a thing called a deposit called an underfloor. An underfloor is where things slip through the cracks between the floorboards. And this happens when you have a particular sort of wooden flooring, and the gap is quite wide, and little things can go through. And you'll see over there pins and needles and buttons and beads and coins and things like that. And they're the deposits that we sometimes, if we're lucky, find inside the house. So please feel free to ask questions of Sam, Costa and myself, and come and have a look.
You didn't find any cemetery or anything like that?
No. The cemetery we do know is the main cemetery from the convict period is over at St John's. So St John's Cemetery. Do you know anything
What are they? Okay. No, it's not going this way. It's not T-Rex. Yeah, it is. Nothing at the moment, but there used to be stuff like lemonade, Fanta, fizzy water. What's that?
Purely from plants.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just from
You wouldn't be able to rest it down, so you would just
Or unexpectedly when the excavator.
Well, I believe if you ask some hand or somebody else,
Figure out
so
how it
that they
relates
don't
to maybe another
explode.
building in the nearby area. As in, like an outhouse.
Yeah,
Oh, these are
you're
the things
right.
that fall
No, it's
between the
actually
cracks.
stone. It's from a certain period back in settlement. It's I don't know.
Oh, the blue is.
Everybody knows.
This was their way. This is probably their way of doing everything. Oh, we got.
And so we had a convict cottage. It was wobbly like this. It's a way and it's a really good question because it's that we aimed. Absolutely. Well, there's range in the goes from the other side of the building all the way down to there. And everything's slowing down. So this.
Technically, they smoke tobacco.
Exactly. And it's channel, exactly. And so it was like a natural channel that was then in about the 1820s. And if you look at rounds of pie between those two buildings, they've actually got a market in terms of and it went all the way up. Up there was beautiful stone, there was stone sides and then stone cut down
The rest
here.
is all the green blue ones, like ricochet, and then decided to get over.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yes.
If anything else happens,
No, just if you want to have a look. Otherwise, just look back around, come out, and then go to your left. There's car park. That's that coffee bar.
I don't think I got one of those.
You didn't? There you go.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
And it was all thrown in, and it was all mud.
Sweet.
Everything comes out of the ground.
Goodness gracious, you
already, we can leave that. I think we're allowed to leave now. I'm so hot.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, did you want to look at this over here? Oh, you mean those guys? The bait, the early bait. Yeah. That's great. Go over. She's going to show you something. Yeah, there's coffee or go with coffee? That's one question early bait there. So Olympic Park and CBM is what I would have.
Hey Dad, do you think I can sit down for a little bit? I feel a little sick from being so hot and standing for so long.
There you go. I think you can get you a cold drink.
It's only hot drinks.
Well, possibly.
Thank you very much for coming.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
Charlotte.
That's all right.
And I'm sure anything comes on our line.
We might be able to swap it for a cold drink.
See you soon. Not goodbye. See you soon.
That's it.
Which way is it to the coffee shop?
Okay, so if you just follow down through here and turn to your left, there'll be the exit, and then you'll turn left again, and that's where that car park will be.
Oh, all right.
All right, cool. No worries. Did you guys get a coffee down?
Okay, guys, I think gonna end the vlog for you all. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel with the notification bell on, so you don't miss any future content that I upload on my channel. Okay, guys, I will see you in the next one.
Yeah, this is over the car.
So you go out.
So when you exit, turn left.
Very interesting, wasn't it, Karen?
Yeah.
I didn't realise it did all this archaeological work.
No.
So careful.
Yeah. All right. See you.